Welcome to the podcast, Brytta. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. I've had you on the summit twice now, so I'm glad to get you on here as well.
Thank you for having me. I'm honestly super excited to be here.
Yay! And we're going to talk about sales, and you're the queen of sales, so I'm very excited to dive into that. But before we start, so you have created a life that I imagine so many of us absolutely dream about. You travel so much, and you are a yoga teacher, and you fund all of this through teaching yoga. You have taught in over 19 countries over the past 12 years. You owned a studio in Portugal. You're in Paris at the moment, but you're relocating to London, like all over the place. For anyone like myself who has the travel bug, I love traveling and think you're absolutely amazing. How did you get started as a traveling yoga teacher?
Yeah, so before I even got my certification, I was an actress in New York City. Like I was in conservatory, I was auditioning for Broadway shows, and I had an acting opportunity in Greece. So I went to study abroad in Greece for the summer, and they needed someone to warm up all the actors through yoga. And I had been practicing yoga for at least 3 years at that time. And I was like, well, I practice yoga, so I'm going to teach the yoga. And that was the day that I quit acting. Like, I literally quit that day. It was like the universe had aligned within me. And I was on a Greek island, and I was just like, if I could teach yoga on this island, I could teach yoga on all the islands. And I flew back to New York City after studying abroad. I immediately got my yoga certifications, and I got my 200 hour, I got my kids yoga certification, and I got my 300 hour, I got a paddleboard yoga one, and I just kept studying yoga and teaching anywhere that would take me in New York City. And I got about a year and a half teaching experience in New York. And then I booked a one-way to Europe, and I have literally been traveling the world and teaching yoga ever since. I'm 31 now, and I booked that ticket at 21. So it has been 10 years of travel and 13 years of teaching.
Wow. It's like it was meant to be. How much of your travels were you able to fund with your teaching, or did you have to supplement with other income?
Yeah, so I fully believe and teach that yoga teachers need to be 10-dimensional beings, meaning they need to have 10 skills outside of yoga that connects them to yoga so that they can fund themselves. So most of the time I have been teaching yoga. Typically I would like get hired by a retreat center, a festival, a hotel to teach yoga. So I get my housing and meals covered, and then I would get paid for the yoga classes. But I also do website design. I do sales, marketing, and business plans. I do a lot of VA work for retreat centers, yoga studios. So I do a lot of business work for yoga studios. I also manage yoga studios. I manage retreats. So anything that connects me to yoga, I do it. But I still teach anywhere between like 2 to 5 classes per week. I used to teach 22 classes per week, and I just don't recommend doing it that way. That was a lot for me. So now I teach a little bit less and I do business more, but I am actually much happier this way. And I feel like my body's happier too.
Yeah, that's a lot as well on your body. I like how you've connected all of your business things to yoga still. Like you're still supporting studios, supporting yoga teachers. So even though it's not directly practicing, you're still helping people get into yoga more, which is really cool. One of your abilities to be able to do all this has been your knack for sales. Where did you learn these skills, and do they apply to both like getting students in your classes, but also getting yourself the gigs to actually be able to teach yoga in all of the retreats and everywhere that you've worked?
Absolutely. I love these questions. So I started in sales when I was 18 years old. I was a broke college student in New York City, and I needed a job, and I got a management position for an art store in New York, and it was all sales related. So my job was to sell these like artistic wedding packages to couples and to like bridal parties. And I loved it because like I am a very sparkly person, and it was very like glittery and artistic, and I got to have like fun, and that actually like funded my yoga certification. So I was learning how to manage people, how to interview people, how to hire people, how to sell packages while I was learning how to teach yoga. And it really just brought me into the yoga business that way. And because of that job at 18 years old, I think it was like 2 years after like teaching, I started just applying to be yoga studio managers for like mom and pop studios, but also for retreat centers, for yoga studios. And I ended up getting hired for Yoga Works, and I was their studio sales manager for their Boston studios. And they basically brought me in because their studios were financially failing, and they hired me to bring the studios financially afloat. So what I did was I just created a brand new sales system, and I trained the teams in sales. And I mean, like, these teams did not love me because I was the manager who would go in and be like, you ready to practice sales, everyone, to sell yoga? And everyone would be like, no, because yoga and sales don't go together. But actually they do if we want to keep studios open. And I basically train people, because when we have yoga studios, we have like 20 different types of a student walking in. We have parents, we have college students, we have like workers, we have like people who are doing all different types of jobs. And I train them in how to have a sales conversation in every single type of a person. I'm like, okay, well, today we're practicing talking to students. Tomorrow we're going to practice talking to moms. The day after that, we're going to talk to workers about these yoga memberships. And it's more about just like getting out of your way and having the sales conversation, because it's not about the sale, it's about what we're selling. And I fully believe that yoga's here to change the world. So like, I'm going to teach people how to sell yoga so that it can impact more lives. And what I did, like through the training that I created, I bumped us within 1 month to the #1 sales studio across the 75 studios that the company owned. And it did so well that they had me train the entire East Coast in sales. For like all the studios on the East Coast of the United States for Yoga Works, I was your girl, just teaching the managers how to sell, teaching their teams how to sell. And those studios were able to stay open as well, because when we have a sales system that works and it's bringing in students and the students are happy, like if it works, then it works. And really just the magic behind it is practicing every day and like having these like sales role conversations to see like these are the types of people that walk into the door. This is how we have to talk to them about yoga. And it's really just figuring out like why they came to yoga, like what is their emotional reason for showing up that day, and using that emotional reason to begin the sales conversation. And once I saw like my studio like filled, like we had 500 students in the studio a day, like that's how many classes we had. And I realized, I'm like, oh my God, like we can impact so many lives through yoga. Like this is why we're doing this. So if you're a yoga teacher, like watching or listening this, and like you're afraid of sales because you don't think like sales and yoga goes together, like yoga impacts lives. Like I have a spinal disability, and it's the whole reason I started practicing yoga was to heal my spines. Like I know that yoga heals and I know it impacts lives. So I'm going to sell something that I know is going to help people. I'm not going to go and sell like insurance, you know, like I'm going to sell something that like I know is here to make a difference in the world. And I think when you're doing it with like the good behind it, and you're not afraid to talk to people about what you love, which is yoga, you're going to sell it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Could we do a
Yeah.
role play as an
Yeah.
example? Could you like pitch me? Say, well, I am a mom, so that's probably easier. I'm a new mom, but I haven't practiced yoga before,
Okay.
and I'm walking into the studio. How do you approach
So
it?
the first thing I would do is I would welcome you to my studio. So if I'm behind the front desk, I'll be like, "Hey Adrian, like welcome to the yoga studio. I'm so excited you're here today. What inspired you to show up today?"
I'm just feeling very like tired, and like my body's not quite what it used to be, and my friends keep talking about practicing yoga, so I thought I'd come and have a look and see what it's all about, but I'm not too sure if it's for me.
Well, I'm really grateful that you chose to come to yoga today, and I'm glad that you came to this studio because we're really excited to have you here. And you know what? I really get it about just not feeling in your body that you used to and really tired. I am a mom myself, and I have a kid, and I get how you just don't have enough hours in the day to rest and take care of yourself. And something I do is I practice restorative yoga, which is like yoga for naps. Like you get to have pillows, comfy blankets, some essential oils massaged onto your head. And it's a really lovely practice to just rest. And rather than like diving into a vinyasa class that's a bit more challenging, I think you should take a restorative class here today. Does that sound something that you would be interested in?
Yeah, that sounds like the ultimate nap.
The ultimate nap. Amazing. So, this is what we can do for you today. We have two options. So, option one is we have a 10 class pack, and these are 10 classes that you can use over 3 months. The price is $197. Or we have a monthly yoga membership, and it's just a 1 month commitment, and you can come to yoga as much as you want or as little as you want, and that commitment is $217. And the 10 class pack, it's 3 months. So you can use these 10 classes. They can't be renewed. It's 10 classes within those 3 months. Or you can have this membership. And this membership is unlimited yoga. You get a free pair of yoga pants. You get also a yoga water bottle, and you get perks. So you get 15% off our workshops. You get 15% off our yoga teacher trainings. You also get 10% off at our gift shop. So there's a lot more perks involved with ship. So it's not just yoga, but you get everything within our studio versus the class pack that is just the classes. Knowing that you've been feeling really tired and you're new to yoga, but this restorative class, it happens twice a week. Would this membership be something that you're interested in, or something that could really just your day to day?
Yeah, I'm not sure because I can't like come that often because of baby and like, so which one would sort of make more sense? Because I'm not sure I could make two classes a week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would definitely go with the membership. That way you get the perks. You also get the free yoga pants, the free water bottle, and you can come as little or as much as you like. Versus the class pack, it's just 10 classes that you get over 3 months, but there's no really perks involved. But with the membership, you get a lot more involved. You also just get to be like involved with our community, whether you're here once a week, once every couple weeks. It's just a better option because you get more classes and you get more perks.
Okay, cool. Let's go with that one.
Amazing.
Thank
So
you.
I'm going to have you fill out this clipboard. I'm going to get your name, your phone number, your email, and then we'll sign you up for the membership, and then I'll give you a tour of our studio. Thank you for coming today. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Britta. That was fun. Thank you. You say it and it sounds very natural. Like you've obviously practiced this a
Yeah.
lot as well. But can anyone be a seller? Like, can anyone learn these skills? Or is there a certain natural aptitude that some people do have towards sales?
I don't think, I know that anyone can sell if they choose to. However, when I was managing Yoga Work Studios, I walked into studios that already had like sales teams hired who refused to do sales. So I think it's an attitude. I had to let a lot of people go on my team because they refused to even talk about the memberships. They refused to talk about the prices of the classes, and they would just give free yoga to everyone. And I'm like, this is why the studios are not financially working well. So I believe that everyone can sell, but it's actually an attitude and it's a choice. So you can be excited about yoga and like know that it impacts people and that it's also here to help us make a living, or you can choose to give it away for free because you're too afraid to step into your worth. So anyone can sell when you choose to have the attitude that I'm going to sell this today rather than I'm going to give it away for free.
Yeah. Is that where most people get tripped up? Is just like that
Yeah.
belief that either they can't or they don't want to? Like, why did they not want to talk about the pricing?
So the in specific to the teams that I walked into, it's just because they had previous people there training them and not really doing their jobs and not like teaching them that like, hey, this is a business. So I think it's the mindset of like yoga is a business. If you are running a yoga studio, a retreat center, a hotel with yoga classes, if you're teaching private yoga classes, like yoga teachers, we all have bills to pay. Yoga studio, you got rent to pay, you have bills to pay. And it's first like the belief that like yoga is a business. Two, it's getting out of that mindset that sales isn't spiritual, because money is spiritual. It financially supports all of us so that we can eat, so that we can take care of our bodies. And like yoga is something I invest in every single day. Like I'm someone who practices yoga at least 5 times a week, and it's like a no-brainer investment. And I think when we start calling it an investment rather than a cost or a price, our mindset is going to shift a little bit, that like, oh my God, this is an investment in my body and my longevity of like how long I want to be on this earth. And also like when we practice yoga, it impacts the people in our lives. So like their lives get better too. So I think it's like switching about like how we think about yoga and business and sales. And when we start understanding that like it actually impacts lives, that's when we're going to want to jump into those sales conversations, because we know that like when people pay for it, they're going to have a better experience.
Hmm. Yeah, where do you think the nervousness around selling comes from? And in yourself. Like if you're like, yes, I believe in yoga, I love it, but then that actual asking for the money and asking for the sale, how do we get past that kind of
I
barrier?
think it's like when you first show up to teacher training and like you don't know how to teach child's pose or warrior two. And the only way that you're going to learn how to teach those poses is by practicing. So you have to practice talking about money. You have to practice talking about sales. And like when I tell you, I have been practicing sales since I was 18 years old. And like it is a practice with a knowing that like I'm going to mess up a lot. So rather than being like, I have to get this money, I have to get this sale, why not just do it for the practice of doing it? Like to get yourself uncomfortable. And like I cried so many times the first time I taught yoga because like I didn't know what I was doing. And it's the same thing with these sales conversations. So look at it as a rather than like an end game. Like I have to make this money, I have to get those sales. Because sometimes when we're like in the mindset of like this has to be an outcome, then like you're not going to get it just because like you are forcing an outcome versus like I'm just going to show up and do my best today and just practice having these conversations because the more I practice, the better I'm going to get and the more comfortable I'm going to get. And I think that is what's tripping people up is one, it's perfectionism, and two, it's like just not practicing. So like you got to practice.
It's like anything,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not just naturally good at it and you have to get those 10,000 hours in. You mentioned seeing sales as a spiritual
Yeah.
practice. Could you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, so one of my dear friends, she's also a yoga teacher. Her name's Katie. We talk about that like when we get sales in our business, that when we make money, it's so that we can take care of ourselves. Like it's so that like I can eat nutritious food. It's so that like I can afford to go to yoga myself every day. I'm someone who loves mani-pedis. Like it's so I can afford to like take care of my body, you know? And for me, when I view sales as like something that is here to take care of me and take care of the people I love, and so I can live the life that I dream of, like traveling the world and teaching yoga, that is when it becomes a spiritual practice. And I know like it's hard to see like, oh my God, I gotta pay this Wi-Fi bill or I gotta like pay rent. Like there's nothing spiritual about that. But like actually having a roof over your head is quite spiritual because like you get to like be in a safe place. You get to like sit down at the table with your family and eat food. Like these are all sacred and spiritual things, and the only reason we have those things is because of money and because of sales. So when we view sales as like the spiritual practices of our day to day, you kind of like become grateful. Like it's a practice of gratitude almost because this money is what is providing love in your life.
Yeah, that reminds me of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. For anyone that's not familiar, it's a psychological framework that basically it's like a big triangle or pyramid and you have to fulfill each step before you can like reach these higher spiritual and intellectual layers, and at the base of that is your basic needs of feeding yourself, housing, as you mentioned, like everything like that, and then it goes up progressively. So if we can switch that into being like this is the spiritual practice that then fulfills the whole cycle and keeps us in a state that we can obtain higher spiritual thought and needs, because you can't reach that state when you are struggling to eat and you're stressed about how you're going to pay your bills and things. So I
Exactly.
like switching that mindset. That's really powerful.
I agree with this. I love this. I didn't even know about this structure, so I'm actually going to go look into it because this is just my day to day as well. And I think when we start like viewing like money as like self care, that is just when the game changes in our mind and how we can just start making sales in our yoga businesses.
That makes a lot of sense. And do you think for anyone that's studying sales or trying to learn more about sales, it's very easy. There's so many options out there. Obviously, there's like a billion self-help business books that will teach us about sales. Wellness businesses and like yoga businesses, how do they differ within the scope of sales?
I love this question. I always tell my clients to sell how you want to be sold to. So I'm someone that I can get on a Zoom call and I can ask for the sale right then on the call and I'll like pop the payment link in the chat because like I just don't have any problems. Like there's no blockages for me. But some people like they want to meditate on it for 24 hours and then decide if they want to go to that retreat or decide like if they want to buy this thing with this person. So sell how you want to be sold to, and also don't use what I just said, sell how you want to be sold to, as like a get out of jail free card to not get uncomfortable in those sales conversations. Like, I hope every yoga teacher is just listening to that piece of advice right there. Like, yes, sell how you want to be sold to, but also get uncomfortable in those sales conversations so that you can become a better salesperson. But for me, it's like, I don't think it's a comparison of like the wellness industry and the yoga industry to like other industries. Like, we're all selling things, and I think it's the goodwill that you have behind it. Like, we know that yoga changes the world historically and now. We know that like it literally heals bodies. We know that it makes us better people. So it's like, if you are going to sell something yoga related with those good intentions, it's going to work out for you.
I love that way of looking at it. And then if you were being a sleazy salesman and you were just approaching it from that perspective, then that's going to just end up as a different result, which is not what we're doing
Yeah.
anyway. Are there differences between the modalities of how we're selling? Like, for example, selling digitally versus like in-person conversations. Is there any like structural differences that are key, or does it still come back to like sell how you would like to be sold to, and then you just apply that to the platform or the medium?
I always believe sell how you want to be sold to. And I have a sales script that I give all my clients. And it's not that they have to go off of it verbatim. It's more like, this is the structure to a sales conversation. Like, you welcome them to the conversation. You get their emotional reasoning as to why they're chatting with you that day, whether it's in person or on the call. You ask them what questions they have, like open-ended questions, so the conversation continues. And then you tell them about what you're offering and using that emotional reason to sell it to them. And then you ask them, like, because like, you know, this like emotional reason that, like, if you're selling, let's say, a 3-day retreat, whether it's in person or on the phone, you're going to be like, because you told me that you're working 60 hours per week, that you have back pain, you're so stressed out you don't even know yourself anymore. This 3-day retreat in Mexico, you're going to get massages every day. You're going to have daily yoga classes. You're going to have 3 meals made for you every day, and your only job is to relax. Would you like to come to this retreat so you can have XYZ transformation? So it's the same conversation, it's the same emotional reasoning. So like, there is a structure to it, and at the same time sell how you want to be sold to. But I do really well when I have something to go off of. So like, that's why I use a sales script, because I like structure. Not all of us are like that.
Interesting. And is there a difference between selling really big high ticket offers or smaller offers, or is it just a difference in like the amount of detail you need to go
I
into?
think with like lower ticket, I see those more as like passive income, and like, you don't necessarily need to get on calls about that. Like, you could do ads instead. You could be posting about that on your social media platforms and your email newsletters. If I'm selling a high ticket, like for example, let's say I'm hosting a 5-day retreat, I don't want just anyone buying that retreat. Like, I would actually want to get on a call with them to like make sure that like it's a good vibe, you know? So I think it's your choice as the business owner. Like, if you want to get on calls with people and like do a mini interview and just like everything checks out, I highly recommend that for those high tickets. But for low tickets, I don't even think a call is necessary. But like, if you own a yoga studio, or like you work at a hotel and you want someone to buy a yoga membership, to me, like, that's still low ticket, but those are required in-person conversations. But I think when it comes to like online and digital offers, you can do all of that online.
So it's just more like how you structure the process and the funnel effectively of what you want those people to go through in order to get to the end of that sale. I think it's a really good point as well that you brought up about wanting to get them on a sales call, because it can feel like, oh no, I need to fill this up because I need to sell all these spots. But if you're creating this transformation, this is also a gift that you are giving people, and you are creating a container. So you need to make sure that everyone's going to vibe with you and each other to be able to actually create that transformative experience for everyone involved.
Exactly. And it could also, like, when I get on these sales conversations with people, it's not just so like I can suss them out. Like, I want them to suss me out. Like, am I a good fit for them? You know, it's like, it's like when you teach yoga, it is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. Like, this is a two-person conversation. And it's like, we want to make sure both parties feel good in this, and then you can move forward.
And same with classes as well. Not everyone's going to necessarily come back, and that doesn't mean that you necessarily did
Yeah.
anything wrong as well. I think that it's just not. the right
Yeah.
fit, and you're not going to be for everyone, and that's okay, and coming to accept that and just keep on selling, and you will keep on finding your right tribe of people.
Exactly. Like I don't like hot yoga. It's not my vibe. It has nothing to do with the teachers. My body just doesn't like it. So like I'll go to a hot yoga class and I promise you I won't go back for like 2 years after it. And it has nothing to do with the teachers. So just know that like your class might not have anything to do with you. It's just like that type of yoga is not their cup of tea. Like not everyone likes paddleboard yoga, and that's okay. Not everyone likes rocket yoga, and that's okay. So don't take it personally.
I learned that relatively quickly. I teach yin yoga. Yin yoga is not for everyone, for
Agreed.
sure. I love it, but it's definitely not for everyone. So, could we've kind of like framed sales in a more formal setting, like you've got someone coming in to see you, or they've already kind of initiated the approach of asking for the sale, I guess, or inquiring about your product. How do we just weave sales into slightly more casual conversations? Maybe we meet someone and we think that it would be really beneficial for them, but we don't want to come off that we're like being salesy, I suppose. Or do you just go for the
I
sale?
think we need to like stop using the word salesy because everyone I talk to who's like about to become my client, they're like, I don't want to be salesy. And it's like, well, you have to be. And it's not being salesy. To me, it's being brave. Like it's being like, I have this amazing product or this amazing offer, this teacher training, and it's going to impact your life. Here's how. And it's kind of like just like, again, switching the mindset. Like it's not salesy. Like you are literally going to impact someone's life. So like, why wouldn't you want to talk about? So I think it's more like being brave and like putting your like big girl pants on and be like, I'm going to go have this conversation about this yoga teacher training or about this membership or this retreat or like this like amazing like online yoga course that I'm selling. But it's just putting yourself out there. And I know it's so much easier said than done, but like the more you do it, it's like the more you practice like crow pose, like the easier it's going to be to practice it, right? So just it's again practicing it. And I think it's like when having those conversations don't just like happen. Like these are relationships we're building. There's this yoga studio in Lisbon that I go to because they memorize every person's name who walks through their door, and they build relationship from the first day that you go there. And I love it. And it like it's the yoga studio I always go back to when I'm there because it's like, oh, they want to build a relationship. So maybe before that sales conversation happens, you spend like 1 to 3 months meeting like every single person in your yoga studio. You memorize their names, you know something personal about them, and you create this like beautiful relationship with them. And then when you're ready to host a retreat, when you're ready to like sell a membership, a yoga teacher training, whatever, you are ready to have those conversations because you know who your people are, you know your community, and they trust you. So of course they're going to want to invest in you, period. So it's not even a sales conversation. It's a continuation of the relationship that you're building.
That's a really good way of switching it. I can imagine if you're feeling really nervous about this kind of thing, joining a local networking group or something would be potentially really helpful. Or practice the like 1 minute sales pitch or something over and over again to anyone you meet, and just make it part of your practice that everyone you meet, you have to somehow challenge yourself to weave in what you do. Because people always ask what you do, and then it's like, oh, I'm a yoga teacher. And then try to like expand on that instead and show your excitement about what it is and why you love teaching yoga.
I love that. I in London I go to network events all the time because it makes me super uncomfortable. And I go to the ones where no one does yoga. Like I go to like the tech bro ones and like the financial people, and I pitch yoga and business to these people, and like I end up getting like really great contacts out of them because like they have money, number one, and number two, like they don't know anyone else who teaches yoga. So like if you can go to these events where like it's kind of like when you have a friend group and like I'm the one who teaches yoga, my other friend is like the one who like teaches like nutrition, like be the person in that room who's the yoga expert. And it's so uncomfortable, and like I'm saying this as someone who gets nervous every time, but like do it. Get in those networking groups, those networking places, and just pitch yourself as the yoga teacher who transforms lives, because that is what it does.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a good tip. Just joining some, because that makes you so uncomfortable. And like lots of people are looking for yoga, and then if you're that one expert that they know, if it comes up in conversation, who are they going to recommend? Obviously, you're the one person that they know.
Exactly.
I also wanted to ask you about recession proofing for studios and yoga teachers. Do you have any tips around how to continue selling and how to stay financially viable? Because unfortunately, like we've talked about this and we both agree, and I'm sure many of the listeners agree, we don't see yoga as necessarily a luxury purchase, but often the wellness industry kind of get lumped into that sort of sector when it's financially hard times. How do you position yourself as a necessity rather than a nice to have?
I love this question. The first thing I'm going to say is anyone who has a wellness business, before you even open your business, I want you to write a 1 year, 2 year, and 5 year business plan. Like that is your assignment, your homework, because you can't just be opening up these businesses because it's your dream. Like that's beautiful, but like business plan, number one, and like business plan for emergency situations. Like if another, I don't know, pandemic happens, like how are we going to get your business online? So number one, have a business plan and like have backups for your business plan. And if you have anyone in your life who's like a lawyer or someone who is in business, like send them your business plan and like have them go over it with you. My first piece of advice from a recession standpoint and from, making yoga a luxury. How many of us like taught yoga during the pandemic? Like yoga was my main form of income during the pandemic because we need yoga. We need it. I don't even think you have to convince people when like life gets bad. I actually think like it's just like a no-brainer. Like in my opinion, like we're like moving into a recession right now and like I'm getting more clients now because we are so like insanely stressed out for like multiple reasons in life that like people need yoga. So I think if we start talking about yoga in a way that solves people's problems, like yoga has healed my back pain. Like I literally have a spinal disability. I am not supposed to be able to move like I can right now, and like yoga healed that. So like talk to people who have spinal issues. That's literally everyone who works a 9 to 5 and sits at a desk. Talk to new moms. Like a lot of my clients are moms who want to get back into their bodies because they feel disconnected from it. Like you have to talk about the problems that people are having and not like the woo-woo problems that yoga teachers make up. Like I'm talking about like real life problems that people have and how yoga is the solution to it. And that's how you're going to show that you are the expert in yoga, and that's going to get people to work with you no matter what kind of time of life that we're in. If you own a yoga studio that's like one of those super luxurious studios like Yoga Works, like the rent there was like 20 grand a month. It was insane. Like you have to make really good business decisions. So like if you're going to open a yoga studio, I want you to think about if this is a recession or like another pandemic, how am I going to afford this rent? So like get creative on what this space can be. Start making really good decisions about like just the types of items that are going to be in your yoga businesses, like the blocks, the mats. Get creative on like a pricing structure. Like, there's like this certain type of pricing structure. I think it's called like sliding scale. And that actually ends up working a lot better in like donation-based studios. And I'm not talking like $5 donation. I'm saying like minimum like $15 to $20 donation classes. And these types of sliding scale studios actually do better and stay around longer versus the ones that like have these like expensive like membership prices. And I'm not against either of them, but like we just have data that shows that like sliding scale and donation based work better when you give it like an actual price and call it a donation versus like these upscale prices. And like I find myself going to the more affordable studios because of the accessibility in the pricing and the accessibility in the classes. And I think that's a conversation to have too. Like everyone says, like every yoga studio says that their yoga studio is for everyone. And then their membership is like $300 a month and like yoga classes to kick your face. But like if you can make your prices accessible and like have yoga classes that are actually accessible to all bodies, that's how you're going to like beat any recession and like get people to come to your yoga classes.
That's a really good point. That's interesting that sliding scale does better. I'd like to see that data. I found it for myself, and I think even from the perspective of helping you get over your money hang-ups and asking for the sale, because I've got it between $10 to $20 for my one class that I teach a week at the moment. And like for any confidence issues getting in the way, that's easier to say. And then it's nice seeing how many people actually pay the higher end of that. Like one lady pays the full price every single week, and I really appreciate that. And then for me, it makes me more money than if I was just doing it from like an unconfident sort of like shy level because I've just started this class and I would just be like, oh yeah, that's like $10 or something, you know what I mean? But if I'm like, oh, it's a sliding scale, it's easier for me to say, and then people end up they really appreciate it and they want to spend more on it for something that they really appreciate. And if they came in and they didn't have as much that week, then that's cool. Like I don't mind. I'm more interested in having people joining long term and building those connections and relationships with them over time.
I have a friend who used to have like a yoga co-op, so like it was like a yoga studio in one room and like a hair salon in the other, and like I just like really questioned everything in her business, and like it has helped everything in my business because like when you make yoga more accessible, more people are going to come and more money you're going to make. So make it accessible.
It's a good tip. I feel that way about reformer Pilates. I don't know what it's like overseas, but here I used to live in like quite a bougie rich town and it was like $45 a
That's a lot.
session. And I was like, I want to go to something like that more than once a week. And even at once a week, like I was making minimum wage at the time.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I was like, man,
And
that's a
I
lot.
think the reason those classes are a lot is because they are in spaces that they cannot afford, so they have to jack up the price. So a lot of
Yeah.
times, like people be like, "Oh, like I can't go to this yoga class; it's too expensive," and it's because the business owner from day one didn't make a good decision, and it's just based on the space that they're renting or paying a mortgage on. So I think that needs to be just talked about more. Like we need to get creative with spaces of like how like what we're teaching in. Like there's so many amazing places we could teach yoga. It doesn't have to be in this bougie studio. Like it can be in a more accessible space.
Yeah, that's a good point. Where's some cool creative spaces that you've seen?
I mean, my yoga studio in Portugal was out of my home. So I had like this really special room that had a Miradoro view. Miradoro just means like a view of the entire city. So instead of like making my home just a home, I used my front room as my yoga studio. So like I was only paying one rent and then everyone got a view of the city while they practiced yoga. So like everyone loved it. And I made the classes accessible. So like I literally like called the yoga for the non-flexible, and it really worked. One of my friends, she had a home yoga studio in Saigon, and like her living room was her yoga studio. I have practiced yoga at breweries before, on rooftops, in shopping malls, in I don't know what these spaces are called, but it's like the spaces that they rent to like have the big trade shows. Like I practice yoga in those. Also like in theater spaces and cocktail lounges, and like not to like drink and do yoga, but like those spaces rent out the spaces when they're not open doing their other business. So you can teach yoga anywhere, and you all you got to do is like show up with your mats and your blocks, and you can literally teach it anywhere. It's the same with like retreats. Like you don't have to rent out a retreat center. You can rent out a house, an Airbnb, and like teach yoga in one of the rooms in there on a deck with a view of a lake, you know? So you can get creative with the space. Like you can teach yoga literally anywhere.
That's a good tip. I think for potentially some of those as well, like the brewery and the places you don't expect, that's if they're willing to like help advertise it
Yeah.
because it is their space, you're getting people in as well. That could be a really cool collaboration opportunity with some local businesses and like help you get in front of a new subset of people that you might have not easily got in front of before if you're in a classic like yoga setting.
Also knowing like what complements yoga. Like one time I did like a partnership with like a running studio. I think it's like called Orange Theory. So like you need to like practice yoga to warm up your body to go running. So like what can you partner with that complements each other, and that's going to create a really great business collaboration for your yoga class.
We're going like down collaborations, which I could talk about forever, but we're getting to the end of our time, unfortunately. For anyone listening who is thinking like, this is amazing, I really need help nailing these skills, I want to learn about sales scripts and everything, how do you help yoga teachers master sales skills?
Thank you for asking this. So, what I do is I call it the strategy call pack, and it's 5 hours. So 5 60-minute calls with me on Zoom where I build your sales, marketing, and business plan with you. So it's not this like general plan. Like I want to build a business that works for you. And everyone who has worked with me so far, they have sold out their retreats. They have kept their yoga studios open because we have really honest conversations about finances, about how you want to talk about sales, about what you're passionate about and like how you want to talk about it. And then we build a sales, marketing, and business plan that works for you. I also have the Retreat Marketing Power Pack, and these are two 60-minute masterclasses. One is the Sell Your Retreat Masterclass, where you learn step-by-step how to build your retreat business from the ground up and sell it out. And the other one is called the Pinterest Playground, where you learn how to make up to $20,000 per month in passive income. So the Retreat Marketing Power Pack and then the Strategy Call Pack. That's how you can work with me. And you can find it on BryttaMoreira.com, Brytta Moreira Instagram. It's just look up Brytta Moreira.
I will put all of the links in the show notes for everyone. And I love that you have a Pinterest one. I used to be a Pinterest manager, so I see Pinterest seems to be like popping again. It kind of went through an awkward teenage phase there for a while.
It did. It's true. It's an adult now.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's coming back. Right. Well, this brings us to our rapid fire questions.
Okay.
What is one marketing strategy that worked better than you expected?
Okay. So something I did in my early like yoga studio manager days is during my lunch hour, I would go out into my neighborhood and introduce myself as a studio manager and like to every business there. So like to the real estate ones, to the shops, to the restaurants, to the cafes, to the nail salons. And I would like give them a coupon to come to my yoga studio and like give them like their first free class. And like then we would do business collaborations that way. So like use your lunch hour to create marketing partnerships.
Nice. That ties in nicely with our collaborations talk just then. And it's 2025, so I have to ask, what AI are you using in your business and how have you found it valuable to you as a business owner, if you're using anything?
Yeah, I use ChatGPT, and I have two things. So the first thing, and I get on all my clients about this, everyone and their mom just like copy paste from ChatGPT and then like everyone's website says rest, restore, rejuvenate, and just stop doing that. Like just stop using those three words to describe your yoga. What I do with AI is like I design all of my content first. I design all my lead magnets, my website landing page copy, that to sound like me. And I build the sales strategy. I do it all on my own. And then I throw it into ChatGPT and I'm like, how can I make more sales out of this? How can I make this a stronger call to action? And I just have ChatGPT like clean up things to make them sound stronger and to get sales faster. So I don't have ChatGPT design my entire business for me, and I don't recommend anyone doing that. Design it yourself because people want to work with you because you're you, not because you're like an AI robot. So use ChatGPT or any AI to like just make your business a little bit better and to make it sound more like you. So use the strategy it provides, use like the tips it provides if it resonates with you and your business. It's just like sell how you want to be sold to. So that's how I use AI.
Yeah, that's a great way. And you can also, if you have existing sales pages, put the URL in and ask it to act like a UI or a UX like website designer and optimize this for sales and like expert copywriter and everything just to get like some ideas, but definitely be editing everything that comes out if you're using any AI copy for sure.
Edit it a lot.
Yeah, it's really obvious once you see it. And my last rapid fire question. So, if you could go back to when you first started teaching and pass on some advice to young Brytta, what would it be?
Oh my God. That I'm an excellent yoga teacher and I really care and like step into that power to like step into the knowing that like I'm actually great at this and to just own my power, and to just stop doubting my magic.
That's beautiful. That's such wonderful advice. Thank you so much for joining me. It has been so much fun getting to talk and learn about sales. I've taken so much out of this, and I'm sure everyone listening will have as well. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time today, and I look forward to the next
Yeah,
time.
thank you so much, Adrienne, for having me. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And I hope this impacted you. I hope that it got you inspired to sell yoga so that you can further take care of yourself and take care of others and impact the world.
Yes, more yoga for
Yes.
everyone.